Hi, this is Duncan Moore, and we're going to go through the process of siting and starting and getting established a fire on a permanent site. First of all, we're in sort of a nice site here. We're away from any main tree roots or anything. We're in an area where it's there's a natural gap in a lot of the root systems, and it's slightly moist underground as well to stop anything spreading. We have our 1 metre boundary around a fire circle, and we have our seating area back there which will operate a one-way system if we had any young people involved. And right, so in regards to the fire, and we have our fire blanket to hand, our burns kit, first aid kit, fire gloves, and over there we've got our bucket of water just in case of any burns or scalds and we need to put our hands into the buckets of water. So what we have here, I've got a tinder bundle of bracken with some clematis seed heads in there to act as a tinder and a kindling. We're then going to move on to birch. So we've got our wood graded here in sizes. So we've got our real thin stuff, then we're going up to pencil thickness and so on, and up to thumb thickness. So yeah, so right, let's get the fire going. Going to be starting the fire using a ferro rod. So we're going to place on the birch twigs. You get the smaller ones on first, just to give it some more fuel, and then we'll get these on, the pencil thickness ones, while there's some nice heat in there burning from the thinner stuff. And the wind's now changed directions, blowing in my face. Once the fire's actually going, going to adopt the respect position around the fire. Anyone who's around the fire adopts this position, and it's easy to get yourself out of harm's way if you need to. I tend to wait until I find it easier to establish the fire on 2 knees and then get into the respect position after. We've had a couple of dry days round here recently, so the birch twigs are really dry and burning well. I have my dry bag here which I'm carrying, which I've got my tinders and my ferro rod and stuff in, just to keep everything together and nice and dry if the worst does happen and it downpoured with rain. Want to try and keep the fire, because we don't need a huge fire, want to just try and keep the fire rounded up into a nice smaller area. You know, you only need what you need for a fire, and the smaller the area, the less chance of it carrying through the ground into more root systems, etc. More chance of creating issues with fire and stuff, forest fires. You always want to be mindful when you're doing a fire of root systems around here, and also what's above you, sort of in the lower canopy as well, because although you're not having such a big fire, you need to be wary of, especially if you've got some dry overhangings or whether there's birds nesting above. So especially during nesting season, you want to keep an eye on what's above the fire area, because you don't want birds, possible other wildlife abandoning nests and their young. It's just about being aware of what's going on around you, and also keeping in mind, do you actually need a fire on that day? Today it's quite warm, we're actually doing the fire for the video, but you know, on a day like this normally you wouldn't need a fire unless you needed to cook or something. You don't need it for any warmth purposes, so just have the fire when you need a fire. This is a lot better for the local environment. You're not using up too many resources and you're reducing any risk. So you can actually see at the bottom now, you can see a lot of the smaller twigs, the ones we put on at the beginning, they're starting to turn white now. They're building up a nice heat down the bottom there, so you're starting to build an ember bed. So if you wanted to move this onto a cooking fire or something, you needed more of an ember bed, you could start to slowly add some of your larger stuff, some better cooking woods such as oak or beech, things that are going to give you a nicer ember bed. But you can't beat a bit of nice dry birch to get a fire going in the initial stages. So the idea is, once you're at this stage, you've got to be confident enough to feel, could I walk away from this for a little while and it's not going to go out? Obviously it will go out eventually, but if I could walk away from this now and be quite confident to move back, to come back and it's still going to be burning if I'm gone for a short while. So that's kind of when you're at the stage of feeling more confident, start to add bigger stuff. You know the heat's in there and the bigger stuff's going to burn. So the main thing there, you see how quick that lit and that went on first attempt with one ferro rod strike. The thing to realise there is before that, a lot of the preparation went in. So it was all the preparation. You're going to get the right materials, the dry materials, then you're going to spend your time grading them so they're all ready for when you want to start. Everything's ready on hand for you, as well as all your safety kits as well. Also be wary of what clothing you're wearing, things like fleeces and stuff made of plastics, you know, very flammable. I tend to, a lot of the time, roll my sleeves up because it's just safer having your clothing out of the way. Also any long hair, tie back long hairs. So it's all in the preparation with fire. If you spend more time preparing it, you will get the fire going in no time. And that's it.